Emily Northway, welcome to Bendiksen Airways,
Thank you very much.
or aboard Bendiksen Airways, I should say.
Happy to be here.
Uh, Good. What's the best and worst thing about Norway?
The best thing about Norway is I love how safe it is. I feel very free here. And the worst thing is sometimes it's difficult to have a robust social life. It takes a bit of energy.
See, what brought you here? How would you introduce yourself before we move on?
That's probably the most common question I get asked as an American living in Norway. The past 11 years I've been here, uh, my answer has changed from my wild sense of adventure is what brought me here to work has kept me here. My community, my network. I think just the progression of my career has been really exciting and fun, and it's led me on a very interesting journey.
Yeah. What more would you say about yourself?
I would say that I grew up in Wisconsin and Utah, and having moved from a very small city to a bigger city gave me the courage to move to Norway after I graduated from college. And I only planned on staying for 1 to 2 years, but oops, 11 years has passed and I'm still here.
But what was the reason for coming here in the first place?
I had visited once before.
Okay.
So this must have been back in 2012, 2013. I visited, thought it was beautiful. It was during a summer where also was getting a heat wave. So I feel like I was given false advertising, sold this Norwegian dream and thought that that's how it always is here. And then a year later, I graduated with my bachelor's degree and moved here on a one-way ticket, no job, no friends, no network. Just, that's the time to try new things, right? Nothing to lose.
Impressive. So, how would you say you've been here for a while now, obviously, but how would you say this has changed you personally?
In many ways, I would say that this is probably, moving abroad and building a life from scratch is probably the thing I'm most proud of so far in my life. And it has changed me. It's giving me a perspective of what it's like to be somewhere new. It's opened my eyes up to so much more about the world. I have an American education and my geography wasn't great. So now after having visited these places and really like immersing myself into different cultures around the world, it's an experience that has opened my eyes a lot and has given me more of a rich life.
Yeah. But what has been the biggest cultural adjustment, do you think, for you?
The lack of small talk. I miss that as the American I am, you know. And when I go back to the US, I feel this like reverse culture shock. So say that you're at the airport and someone bumps into you here in Norway, the most you will get, if anything, is a little bit of eye contact and an oi, oi, at the most. But in the US, people will like, maybe grab your shoulders, look you in the eyes, so, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, move on. Like it's a full-on moment with the other person. So you enter a store and in the US and someone goes, oh my gosh, I love your top. Where is it from? They're just making small talk. You go to a cafe. How's your day going? Just those little human interactions. I think like acknowledging each other's existence is more culturally normal in the US. And in Norway, I've gotten into a flow where I'm used to not having it, but at times I do feel that my heart misses that, those like small moments. So every time I travel and come back, I tell myself I'm going to keep, doing that here, but it's
Yeah,
not oftentimes like well received and it's hard to keep that momentum going.
no doubt, I see that.
Yes.
Uh, but how would you say, besides that, the small talk and those small encounters, how would you say that Norwegians treat newcomers?
Huge generalization here, right? But Norwegians are very kind, down to earth, genuine people in my experience. And some of the best friends I have are Norwegians, but it did take a lot of time and effort to build those friendships because I think a lot of people here have deep friendships with people they grew up with. And that's hard to break into as a foreigner, as an immigrant, as an expat. And there's also this sense of, as someone from the outside, are you going to stay? Are you worth my time and energy and investing some, into? Um, so I would say Norwegians are very curious, but also very skeptical. So I think in the US, when there's something new, Americans generally lean in and are curious to learn more. But here I sometimes am met with a bit of skepticism. Why are you here? Why did you move here? That's
Mhm.
weird. Instead of, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Why'd you move here? And so that after 11 years, it gets to be a bit like I'm defending myself in a way and my decisions.
How does a normal day for you look like now?
I work full time at a tech company called Flowcase. We are based in Oslo with offices in Toronto, in London, in Copenhagen, and I'm working with digital marketing, which is a really fun job. I enjoy it. It's a good mix of creative, strategic, operational. So that's my weekdays, mostly spent doing that. After work, I'm active, I'm walking, I'm jogging, I'm yogaing, meeting friends. I started a social group here in Oslo called Oslo Girl Social. So every Sunday we take walks together, and the goal is just to build community. I started this just a few weeks ago, and the response has been insane. Yesterday we had a park hangout, and I think 60 people showed up. Most of them alone, a bit nervous to meet people, but I think that just shows that Oslo is missing a bit more of that space.
Yeah. So, well, you're into it already, but what inspired you to start that, and how do you see it expanding?
Yeah, what inspired me was that I love going on walks and jogs alone, and I know that Oslo has thousands of running groups already. So I figured let's start a walking group. It's a bit more low key, low threshold, and then just for the girls. Because oftentimes these running groups, they're great, and I join them myself once in a while, but they can be, you feel like maybe you have to get ready, and there's like it's a mix of guys and girls, and it can sometimes become a bit like datey. And I just wanted it to be a bit more comfortable for the girls. And I see it growing. I mean, we started off as a walking group, and now we're um, a social group. I started a WhatsApp just yesterday, and I think there's 200 people in it already. So I see it as a way for people to meet new friends and then build friendships outwards. So if anyone's new here, or if they've lived here for years and haven't found their people, like this is a space to come find friends and to ask people, oh, I'm going to this concert. Oh, I really want to go to this yoga class. Who wants to join me?
Yeah. How do you see Oslo? What are the attractions for other newcomers
Okay,
coming
so the
here?
simple answer that everyone always says is, oh, it's so close to the sea and it's close to the nature, which it is. It is. But I must say, there are other places in the world which boast much better ocean life and more stunning mountains. So for me, that's not the main pull. For me, it's very safe, it's efficient, it's friendly. Things are on time. For the most part, I trust the government. I feel that I'm taken care of. I can kind of lean back and focus on other areas of my life. I've recently gotten Norwegian citizenship, so I'm able to vote now. I'm able to feel a bit more secure. So for the last 11 years, I've been on a skilled worker visa, which means that I have to reapply for the visa every 2 years. And then if I were to lose my job, which, I was in the startup world for many years, so that was a possibility, I would have way few less rights as an unemployed person in Norway. I would potentially have to move home. So I think now being a citizen and yeah, having a bit more of a hold here, I feel secure and safe.
Yeah. So say you have 24 hours to show someone Oslo. Where do you
Hmm.
go? What do you see?
I love the floating saunas. I think that's a really cool, different activity to do. So they have these saunas all over the Oslo fjord. You jump in the sauna, you sit in a few hours. There's different saunas. Some are quiet, some have music playing in them, and then you jump into the sea. They're right next to the Opera House, which is a beautiful view, especially on a sunny day. Also cozy on a rainy day. So that's for sure. There's some amazing coffee in Oslo. I would take people to Tim Vendelbo or Java Cafe. Um, I would go on walks through Frogner Park. I think that's one of the most stunning parks I've ever been in. I have a friend who works in Canada as he builds parks around the world, and he says that that's the most stunning park he's ever seen, like the symmetry of the park. And it's something I had never thought of. I've ran through it many times, but seeing it through someone else's eyes is really nice. What else? The food scene is getting better, luckily, over the last few years. There's some local gems like Skål Matbar and Grünerløkka. I just call it Løkka for short. Territoriet wine bar is really nice. I think Sankthanshaugen and Løkka are the best for, walking around, catching a vibe, grabbing a bite to eat. Løkka Deli is really nice for lunch. Dapper, Oslo's great coffee as well. Yeah, I think just taking in the vibe of the city.
Sounds good. So what do you miss about the US?
I miss my family. I miss driving a car. I don't have a car in Oslo because it's so easy to walk everywhere here. When I first moved, I had a car. I leased one for 3 years, but I didn't use it much. So I miss sometimes like feeling that the world, like my everyday world is a bit bigger with being able to be more mobile. But yeah, mostly I'd say my family.
Yeah.
They're spread apart in the US. They're in Florida, Texas, and Arizona.
All right.
Yeah.
How often do you go back?
Usually once a year, and I try to go for a month or so, just so I can bop around and visit them all. My siblings are all in the stage of having babies, and it's a very exciting time. Always something exciting going on when I'm there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you spoke about feeling safe and friendly people, down to earth, etc. What do you think? How would you compare Norway to the US, like from a more broader view? What do you think Norway gets right,
Yeah, I mean,
so to
that's a
speak?
tough comparison because of the size, right? Like, it's hard to compare a country that is so tiny to a country that is more like a continent sometimes with the different rules per state in the US. But to generalize, I would say, I think just because there's a lot fewer people and a high level of trust in the government here, people just act a bit more calm here. I feel like there's less less black and white. I feel like there is a more common gray zone that's just, in the middle where people have this general sense of understanding each other or are open to hearing other points of view. And I think the US is quite polarizing. Like, you pick a side and stick to it no matter which side it is, and you have to choose if it's black or white. And I know we're just fed headlines on this side of the world. I haven't lived in the US for many years, so I can't really speak to what it's like to live there anymore. But yeah, when I read the headlines, I try to keep in mind that that's just what the media wants to feed us. And I know my family who is there, their everyday lives are not impacted so much by like the political and economic state. But that's also the privilege we have, I guess, coming from, white Americans living in the US.
Yeah. So, is there anything you still find puzzling about culture here?
Yeah. Surprisingly, yes. I would say I sometimes lack a bit of direct communication. So I work with people from Finland, the Netherlands, Copenhagen, and I definitely find that the Dutch are way more direct. And I appreciate that in the workspace because then we don't have to spend time or energy thinking, what did that comment mean? But sometimes someone could be like, oh, good job. And I'm like, wait, did you mean good job? Or like, let's just say it as it is.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that will always be puzzling to me, and I've learned to accept it.
So 11 years now, how has that influenced, let's say, your values or lifestyle, maybe in ways you didn't expect beforehand?
Yes. So in the US, there's definitely this hustle culture, work hard, play hard, dog eat dog, elbows out. You have to climb your way to the top. But I definitely feel here people prioritize and really value a more balanced lifestyle, and they settle into comfort. So if they feel that they've reached a certain level in their career, they're good and they, hit cruise control. And that's great for them. But I feel like a lot of my friends in the US are very adamant about reaching a certain level in their career or what success means to them. So I would say work-life balance in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you're to give advice, we spoke a bit about it earlier, but if you to give advice to someone considering moving here full time? What's the main thing?
Check out my TikTok videos. I have an entire channel dedicated to helping people learn how to move here. So since I've been through this whole process and I know the ins and outs of it, I figured this is my way of giving back. I give tips and tricks on where to look for jobs, the websites, where to apply, who to talk to, but first I would say I really do think that social media is a great place to find people who are doing it now. You find people who are in the process, who have been in the process, and to hear from them might be more valuable than to read a to-do list on Google that might be a bit outdated. So don't be afraid to reach out to people. I mean, I am so happy to help. I've had numerous Zoom calls with people who are, curious about moving here, and I give them 30 minutes of my time and open up my network and help them with the process. I know one woman actually moved here not too long ago from the Netherlands, and we had a chat and she found a job. And then another woman was considering Norway, but then she ended up in Portugal. So I think just staying curious and open and reaching out to people.
Yeah, I have a sister-in-law that moved to Norway, I don't know, about a year ago, but she's in a really, really small place. So what about people who are not in Oslo, Bergen, Stavanger, etc.? How do they cope?
I would say good luck, like lykke til. I don't know. That's that's an experience I chose not to have for myself because I couldn't do it. But it really depends on your goals and who you are as a person. If you're really craving a more slow living lifestyle, that's fantastic. But if you crave a city beat, a pulse, being surrounded by lots of options and activities going on, I would not recommend that personally. Oslo is amazing, but it is a very small city, and I still find myself needing to escape. I'm here maybe 75% of the year because I got to get out. I have to experience other things. And when I go, I try to choose places that are a big contrast to Oslo, like maybe not as safe. Like I want to go to Marrakesh. I want to go to South Africa, just to feel a different energy. So I think be prepared for the long, dark winters. Plan trips
Yeah,
away if it's something that it's not for you. Some people love it and just want to cross country skill winter. Great. Not for me. I learned that. I just need to leave every winter for a month or two and then come back. So I feel like Oslo is a really great base. And I think there's not one way to do it, right? Figure out what works for you. If that's traveling, if it's renting a cabin in the winter and having things to look forward to. I don't know. It's not easy. And I know a lot of people look at living abroad as this big fairy tale. And it comes with so many benefits and pros and learnings, but it also is very difficult and isolating and lonely at times. So I think just being prepared and coming in knowing that there's going to be ups and downs, and especially the first year, that's an adjustment phase, no matter where you're moving to, if it's out of the country, if it's just, into a new city. I think that's just part of the game.
yeah. What, yeah. What about the food?
When I first moved here, my mom would send me like spice packets from the US. I'm like, Mom, I can get most of this here, but I do appreciate the Tajin. So it's definitely improved, thank goodness. Like the produce quality as well. Everything's getting better. It's a slow improvement, but it's cool to see Oslo trying. I think just because there's not so many people here, and it is a bit more expensive here than other places in the world to go out and eat and drink and be social in that way. There are a few spots that I've really enjoyed, but they come and go as well. They don't last forever.
What about the alternatives in the grocery stores?
There's not much. That's one of my favorite parts about going back to the US. I will beeline it to the grocery store and just spend an hour looking at all of the options. So here, there's maybe like two options of peanut butter, that's it, crunchy or creamy, that's it. In the US, there's an aisle dedicated to peanut butter, there's an aisle dedicated to cereal. So I think there's pros and cons to that too, right? We have fewer options here, mostly higher quality, I would say. I trust that what I'm eating is like not poison for my body. And when I go back to the US, I sometimes do get a bit sick, but I embrace it.
Okay. Have you traveled a lot in the rest of the country?
A bit, yes. I would say the furthest north I've been is Svalbard. So all the
Okay.
way up there. That was a unique experience. I went in June. but I was still wearing 3 layers of wool, climbing icebergs, and yeah. So that one was remote. If you go, I recommend going for like 4 days. There's not a whole lot to do there, but very cool to experience. And down south, yeah, I mean, I've been to all of the summer spots, the winter ski locations, Hafjell, Trysil, Kvitfjell, Hemsedal. I think after 11 years, you know, it's all of those common places for hyttetur. It's
Yeah.
the list.
So you're here to stay then?
TBD. I'm not sure. I love my life here, but I've also realized that life is really long, and if a an opportunity presents itself elsewhere, I'm open to it. But yeah, we'll see. You know, having family abroad, it's hard to say. Like maybe one day my parents need help and my opinion of staying here will change. I don't know. I'm not sure. But they are very young and healthy, so I am living life according to myself for now.
Nice. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Really grateful to have the opportunity to share my experience, and if anyone wants to chat more, just reach out to me.
I'll put the links in.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, put the links in the episode description.
Cool.
Final question. What's the meaning of life?
The meaning of life? Oof, that's a great question. So for me, the meaning of life is to enjoy, have fun, don't take it too seriously, show others kindness, and if you're true to yourself, the world will react kindly to you.
Good speaking to you, Emily. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Tusen takk for at du hørte på Bendiksen Airways. Dersom du har tips, kommentarer eller vil gi en vurdering av episoden, så gjør gjerne det. Det setter jeg stor pris på.